Welcome back to DAGryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. The Spring York 2024 train show is a wrap, and behind me is what came home with me. I realized while I was at the show this year that this was my 5th visit to the York Train Show. And you know what? I enjoyed it just as much as every other time. I'm sure it's partially because my tastes have been changing, but I saw so much stuff I could have purchased. And I sure did not succeed at the $30 challenge. Unless you look at the last day, Saturday, I spent $7. So if you want to look at it that way, then yeah, sure, I succeeded one of the 3 days. As is usually the case, I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I like to look for things that fit the budget instead of trying to fit my budget around the things that I want. Case in point, I saw a beautiful set of New York, Ontario, and Western F units, and at $700, it's just not going to happen. So I got to the show and I was just going to wander around and see what happened. Now, initially, I found myself not wanting to buy anything. And I think that might have just been the fact that I knew I was going to be there for 3 days, and I didn't want to spend all my money right away. I feel like it was one of the first tables I got to. I was looking through a stack of passenger cars. My attention was drawn to them first because of the price tag. It said 4 cars, $150. My self-imposed limits on what I like to spend per car is about $25 for a passenger car. I mean, I'll spend more depending on road name and how nice the car is and stuff like that, but that's the goal. So I was looking at it and saying, you know, 150 for 4, I'm not really sure I'm going to do that. Before I could even say anything to the vendor looked at me and said, "You want those?" I was like, "They're pretty nice." He goes, "Okay, what do I have them listed for?" I said, "You've got 150 in the box." So he says, "Give me $100 and they're yours." So I couldn't say no to that. Thursday morning, and the guy's knocking off $50. So I was just like, you know what? He wants them gone. I want them in my collection. It has to be done. Everything else that's behind me kind of just happened. You know, I had some road names in mind of engines I'd like to look for. I had some tools I wanted to get, and always on the lookout for cheap freight cars. One of the other things I was looking for was a broken and busted die-cast pickup truck. And a number of the vendors that had die casts, I actually asked them, "Do you have any that you accidentally broke on the way into the show? You know, you dropped it, you ran over it with a cart, you stepped on it, you kicked it, and now it's all broken and you can't sell it." Because I want a beat up pickup truck that I can make look like a derelict vehicle that's rusting and rotting and sinking into the ground. And even a $5 pickup truck, if it looks good, I don't want to bust it up and make a mess out of it. I mean, I'll have to get over that at some point. The ones I have, I just don't feel like doing that to. There was a good contender for $5, but again, it was brand new in the package, and I was like, I can't take this and like beat it with a hammer and rip the wheels off and scrape the paint off. I mean, it just didn't feel right. I would say I was at the train show most of it. I wasn't getting moving quite fast enough in the mornings, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was there. I feel like the spring show is always a little bit smaller, a little bit less attended than the fall show, but still a lot of people, a lot of vendors, and a lot of great trains. I really do try to focus on the positive and not harp on things that I see as a negative, because there's really no point in doing it. I hear enough complaining from others, I don't need to do it myself. My only concern, I'm going to call it, is that Saturday there were a lot of people packing up around noon. And I remember in the past that they would be making announcements. You couldn't pack up your merchandise until later. You couldn't move a cart through the aisles until after the show closed. But really, by 2 o'clock, I'd say half of the Orange Hall was almost all the way packed up. And I was thinking, you know, if I had made the drive to see the show on Saturday because I couldn't get there on Thursday and Friday, maybe I had to work. If I had driven all the way out there for the show on Saturday and that's what I was greeted with, I'd be very disappointed. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it. I'm not really complaining. I'm just identifying what I see as a turnoff maybe for people that can only get there Saturday. If I could have only been there Saturday, I don't know that I would return if that was my first experience of the show. So I don't know if there's anything to do, but like I said, just voicing a concern. As far as the rest of the show is concerned, no complaints. Lots of vendors, lots of trains, lots of people, and I had a great time. I did probably more talking with people than I did looking at trains for sale. A couple of the other YouTubers had stickers, magnets, pens to hand out, and I realized I am sadly behind the ball on this one. Is there something you guys would like? I am hopefully going to be getting some sort of t-shirts together. I'd like to get a move on some of that stuff because if nothing else, it's just fun. So let me know what you think and what you would like if I'm to come out with some merchandise. This is a boxcar I've had for some time, but it has been datified. Yep, small sticker from Mike at Datified, and now it's on my UP boxcar. The other side now has a 3 rails 4 dad sticker. That's just fun. I mean, that's a good sticker. These are both great stickers. I need to step up and get some of these done. My cheapest budget find of the show were these 3 railroad bumpers from Zitnik Trains for $2. One of them slightly broken, but for $2, doesn't matter. I'll glue it back together, or I won't even use it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these, but for $2, I couldn't pass them up. I always love looking at their tables. They break it out by dollar. Everything in this spot, $1, everything in this spot, $2, and all the way up. And it's just, I always like to see how far I have to go from $1 before I find something I want to buy. Friday, it was these $2 railroad bumpers. And then Saturday at their table, I found this Atlas stock car for $7. I mean, even the box is in good shape. I don't think it was ever out of this box. Well, it's coming out of the box now. Okay, it's been out of the box. There is some indication of wear and some dirt on the wheels. Look at that. That's a beautiful car. And the $7 thing just makes it all that much better. At one point we were talking about boxes and do you keep boxes? What do you do with them? Some people are, oh, I keep every box. Some people say, I throw them out, or I only keep the boxes for the engines. This is just a neat box, so I'm gonna hang on to this one. Not like I'm gonna keep it for the resale value of a $7 car, but it's just a nice vintage box. The only other freight car that I picked up is this Baltimore and Ohio Hopper by MTH. And that was a $20 find. It looks like it's had very limited use. This other one was a freebie from Nick. He didn't want it, and I thought maybe my daughter could do one of her custom holiday boxcars with it. I know I don't have a lot of roads yet, but I'm getting there. At least I'm planning some out. But I picked up a couple of nice die-cast cars. I honestly can't remember if they were $5 cars or $10 cars. I think 5. I got this cool police car and this awesome flat black Chevy Nomad. I always want to pick up tools so that I can repair things better or repair things in a way I'm not able to do without the tools. But I never want to spend the money. So this time I said, you know what? I've got a bunch of engines that are sitting over my workbench, bent axles that need to be repaired. I mean, these were things that I had purchased to repair and sell. And I've been unable to sell them because I haven't fixed them. So I stopped at the booth for PE Design Manufacturing and I picked up their kit for standard and O-gauge wheel pullers. With this kit, I should be able to pull any wheel on an O-gauge engine, whether it's a larger geared wheel on a steam engine or a smaller wheel on one of the diesels. Got a few engines I want to work on. I just remembered my 623 ATSF switcher has a wobble to it. So I hadn't even thought of that before. Maybe I'll end up pulling the wheels on that and replacing the axles. I mean, I have no idea what's involved in that, so I'll have to take a look. But it would be nice for that to roll a little smoother. I also have the E-unit tool from them. You may have seen it used in a previous video. With any luck, if I can focus and get some projects done, I will have a video coming out on this tool and the E-unit tool. Of course, I've been trying to get a video together on the E-unit tool forever. Stupid COVID messed me all up. Anyway, hopefully those will be out in the next month or so. And then I've got some scale couplers. It's not something I would normally go with, but a couple of the cars that came with my K-Line Porter set, after using them a little bit, I guess there was some zinc pest in those couplers because they just fell apart. So hopefully these are in better shape. One of the vendors I always try to get a look at is Gryzboski's. And I, for some reason, have a lot of trouble getting that name out of my mouth. It starts at the brain, gets to about here, and stops. So hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. But anyway, I was looking at a box of inexpensive damaged parts And Joe came over and said that he had really appreciated the video I had done from the Wayne Train Show, where I mentioned how difficult it actually is to be a vendor. You know, there's a lot of work involved that if you've never tried to sell at a train show, you're not really going to be aware of. It takes a lot to get there and set up, all that unloading, all that organizing and record keeping, and then being there all day and then having to clean up and get it all back. It's an exhausting process. So what's that have to do with this? Well, I was looking through that bin of random things, and I had picked up this frame part from, I think, a Northern, and I was just looking at it, and he's like, you know what, here, you can have it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe freight on a flat car? I don't know. I'll figure something out. It's just always nice to get a little appreciation. I didn't get anything from them this visit to the show, but I always stop and talk with Troy and Roxanne at Iron Horse Trains. What I should have purchased this time, and I did not, were these killer tree kits. Tall pine trees, lots of details. I think I have some pictures. Maybe I'll put one right there. Troy built a little display with some foam and the trees, and it just looked amazing. Nick did pick up, I think, 2 kits of the variety, so different height trees. So hopefully he'll have a video on that, so keep an eye out for that one. This is an interesting one. It's an 080, and it's heavy, but it's also empty. It's got a motor in it, but nothing else. No pickups, no electronics. It's essentially a dummy that won't roll. So why do I have it? This was a hand-me-down from Nick. He had received it from somebody else as a, hey, maybe you can fix it kind of a thing, and he just never got around to it, and he wasn't going to. So he said, you know what, you take it, see if you can get it going. So I don't know if I'm going to try to install something to get this working, if some of these parts are compatible with the Lionel 080. I have no idea. I mean, it's just a gorgeous engine with some really nice details. So whether I just sit it on a track to look pretty or actually try to do something with it, I don't know. But the idea of fixing this up, I mean, this thing is heavy. So I imagine it would be one heck of a puller. It's an MTH Northern Pacific 080. I have enough projects, but I couldn't turn this one down. We'll find out together when I decide what it is I'm going to do with this. If you watch Nick's channel, this might be another one that you've seen in the past, and that's a set of Baltimore and Ohio E7s. He had worked on these multiple times, tried a couple different things, and was just done with it. He'd been sitting there in his train room collecting dust. So he's like, maybe you can do something with them and get them running. And apparently now Baltimore and Ohio is my new favorite road. There was a harness that ran between them, but he cut them in half. They were permanently wired together, and now they're permanently unwired together. I have no idea what's going to happen if I try to run these. So they'll probably sit for a little bit before I go ahead and end up just tearing them completely down and seeing what's what. The passenger cars that I found early on that were listed for $150, and the guy said, give me $100, are right here. They were all sealed. So if the trucks are no good, I was thinking I would find a way to 3D print the side frames for the trucks and go from there. But regardless, let's open these up, see what they look like, and if they'll roll. So what are they? Baltimore and Ohio Williams 72-foot streamlined passenger cars. They look awesome. They're definitely going to need some LED light upgrades, and even if they didn't, I would still need to open them because the silhouettes have fallen off of the windows. The old Lionel 2500 cars, those inserts slide into a groove. I'm assuming these were just barely glued into place. But the car seems intact, the trucks seem good, and that's what was really important. Something just occurred to me. I'm assuming this is a set and not 4 observation cars. That would be something. This one doesn't want to come out of the box. Trucks seem good, wires are stiff, and the silhouettes have fallen off the windows also, but other than that, a very nice coach. I'm assuming this is a second coach. It is a second coach, and it's a different number, so that's good. And I just broke the styrofoam and dropped the car on the ground. And this is why we cannot have nice things. I think it's okay. I don't see any damage, but then again, I'm not going to look too hard. Another coach. Knocked a set of wheels out. Then went back in. Now imagine if that was a $200 passenger car. I may have had a stroke. Last, but certainly not least, the baggage car. The doors don't even open on this, which I actually think is a good idea because I can't stand it when they're rolling around with the doors half open. So that's not a bad haul. I'm pretty excited about it all. And I have to say, the passenger cars, I'm really excited about. I am going to have to open those up and fix the window silhouettes and do something about the lighting. I haven't even tried the lighting yet, but I'm assuming it's spotty at best. So LEDs and get those window inserts in place, oil up the trucks, and then it should be good to go. Even the one I dropped on the floor. So I guess that's it. What? That box? Well, that just might have to wait until next time. Nah, I'm kidding. Let's open it up and see what's in there. Normally, I try to wait until I get home to open anything so that me opening it on the video is the first time I've seen it, but I wasn't that patient. I had this thing out of the box a couple hours after the show, and I ran it around Nick's layout for quite a bit, and I love it. This is my first MTH Rail King engine. And not only that, it's not used. It's a brand new model. That's crazy. I picked this up from Pete at Just Trains of Delaware. I was previously at his store, and unless I forget, I'll link that video down below. But he's always got such a great selection of stuff, and I'm thrilled about this purchase. I can't say I was looking for this engine, but I have been looking for something with this road name. Back when I used to do N-Scale, I had an E8, I think. It's been a long time since I've looked at it, and it had this paint scheme on it, and I just always really liked it. Fortunately, it's a northeastern railway, so it fits in with my general idea of my railway. What I was really hoping to find was an F7 set with this paint scheme, and I did see one, but it was an older model and conventional control. Now, I'm aware of the fact that I don't have DCS, but we'll worry about that later. I always said that I would look into DCS if and when I ended up with an MTH engine. Well, now I have an MTH engine. Hopefully I don't drop this on the floor. Pretty ribbons. It's very exciting. It is a Boston and Maine RS3. I think that is a gorgeous engine. My only complaint would be the silver trucks are just a little too bright, so I might have to try and weather those up a bit. I wouldn't do the whole engine, but if I can kind of grimy up the trucks a little, I think it would look a little better. I ran this on Nick's layout and I tried it with all the funky features that you get with DCS, and it was an absolute blast. I really enjoyed all the different things that it does. It added a whole nother level to running the train. This is my most expensive engine that I've purchased. I know I have a Conrail Legacy engine, but that was a gift. As far as things that I've purchased, this is my most expensive engine. But I got a great deal from Pete. This thing was $320, and I'm thrilled because that's just a little out of my self-imposed range, but not so much that it will give me too much guilt or anxiety. So I used it on Nick's layout for a while, pulled some trains, got some video, and then reset it completely, so it should work just fine conventional for now until I get something DCS to control my engine with. And then who knows? I've seen a lot of MTH engines that I've liked, so maybe this is the beginning of something. Let's see what happens. Nothing seems to be happening. There we go.
Isn't it supposed to work?
I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DAGryffyn Hobby.